Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa. So excited to talk to our next guest. They're going to introduce you to the Neuron family, and they have an amazing coloring and learning book when it comes to the brain. I'm joined by Maria Zamfir and Marion Van Horn. They are the co-authors of the Brain Coloring and Learning book. Welcome. Great to have you both here.
Thank you.
I mean, this isn't just for kids, by the way, because I have a feeling I'm going to be learning a lot myself as an adult, although many people still say I have a lot of kid in me. But you're both neuroscientists, right? So tell me a little bit about your background, Maria, as a neuroscientist.
So, yeah, I'm a neuroscientist, which means I study the brain. And I did my PhD at McGill University at the Montreal Neurological Institute. So I spent a long time studying the brain in detail. And during that time, I also continued my passion of art. So drawing neurons, that's when the cartoons came about. So it was about 5 years ago I started drawing these neurons, and they sort of came to life. I would get inspired by different types of cells that I learned about and then make a cartoon about it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You have both sides of the brain working then, right? That's pretty cool. Marion, tell me how you two met then to come up with this concept of this book.
Right, so I'm also a neuroscientist, studying the brain for many years. And Marie and I were both working at the Montreal Neurological Institute.
Okay.
And I saw these cute neuron characters. They're really adorable. And I'm also a mother, so I was like, I gotta start giving these things to my kids. And I think it's like a really fun and playful way to start introducing the brain. Like, the brain is so complex, but you want to start introducing it early so they have an idea of what's going on and like what mom is doing when she goes to work. And
so how then did you simplify it then for young people?
Well, we had this idea of putting it into a coloring book because it's very interactive. You can learn a little bit about the brain. So we tried to break it down and take these complex ideas and then just keep breaking it down to like the basics, the fundamentals that we really know a lot about. So, for example, myelin makers.
Yeah, it took us a while. Like, we really had to work to make it accessible for kids, and also it's good for adults who want to learn about the brain as well. So I don't know about you, but we didn't learn about the brain in high school at this point, but now it's starting in schools as well.
Finally
Starting the
neuroscientists around the world are celebrating that.
Maria's son has a copy in his grade 1 class.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
they're starting, as early as grade 1, just introducing these, like, this is a neuron, this is your brain.
Right.
Yeah.
So Maria, what is a neuron then? How do you describe it to people in a simplified way?
I guess the simplest way to say that it's a type of cell that is one of the types of cells that makes up the brain, and it sends signals to other cells, and they control like your movements, and they also get any sensory information from the outside world. These are all traveling through neurons.
I see. And there's one, so you brought a microscope here, so I can actually look at one here.
So those are what are called motor neurons, and they look similar to other neurons. We have a picture that we brought for the audience to see also what Derek is looking at. So you can
there
see,
it is here,
Yeah, so that's real neurons under a microscope, and you can see that they have dendrites, and that's how information comes into the neuron, and they have an axon which sends information to the next neuron, and that's how they're all interconnected in your brain.
So is there a storyline at all, Marion, throughout?
Yeah, so it's really broken up into 2 parts. The first part of the book is fundamentals. What is a neuron? What is a synapse? So we go into some of the details, and there's you can color, and there's also activities. And then we have the second half of the book is how do you keep the brain healthy? So once you've learned a little bit, you don't even have to start with what you've learned, but the idea is to really teach people about how to keep their brain healthy. And so there's exercise, there's nutrition. I mean, David showed some really delicious food.
And all of those are probably good,
like on the checklist. If you go to the part that's about nutrition, fish and leafy vegetables and eggs and fatty nuts and there's all kinds of things that we should be eating, not just for energy, but also to give nutrients and energy for our brain.
And Maria, I've always heard, in my career, having people talking about the brain is you also need, it needs to be activated, right? You need to work it out. So outside of nutrition, what other things can you do to help the brain to remain healthy?
So sleep is really important for the brain to remain healthy, and exercise as well. So sleep is really great for helping establish the connections that are working well, and things that you learned during the day get what's called consolidated overnight.
Okay.
And then you kind of trim part of the synapses that are no longer useful, so then you can move on and learn something else in the next day. And exercise is also really great for the brain. And yeah, those are the main two: nutrition and also socialization, so meeting with friends. And yeah, I think those are the main points we have included in our...
And cognitively, I mean, doing puzzles and things like that?
Yeah, use it or lose it, I think, really holds true when it comes to the brain. You gotta be challenging yourself.
And coloring is a good idea too, like in our coloring book. And we also have a lot of activities like word search and other things that are in the book as well. So if you know a kid that maybe they color for a little bit, but they prefer the activities, we still have those. And we also have a really nice hands-on craft in the back of the book. So
so this comes with the book.
This actually comes in the book.
Very cool.
So we have, I can show you.
Look at that, yeah.
Ta-da! So at the back of the coloring book, there's a page, and then you can cut it out. So you first cut out the brain, and then you cut along the dotted lines, and then you tape it. And there's a video also on our website on how to assemble it. So essentially you do it like this, and then you put the two halves together, and you attach the cerebellum on the back. And this is a way that you can learn about the different parts of the brain while also even holding it, and you can also put it on your own head.
Yeah, because also it's all labeled and everything for people, right? I've got about 30 seconds left. You have a book signing coming up at Coles Billings Bridge. Tell me about that, Marion.
Absolutely. It's going to be on Saturday, 11 till 2, and we're going to have all of this stuff. We're going to have free coloring sheets so kids can come and try it out, a little cute lab coat, the brain model, which we didn't talk about, but you can come and actually feel it and see, look inside. It's really cool, and test out the coloring book.
And pick your brains.
And pick our brains.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. All right, give me a break. Thank you both so much. Really.
Thank
Oh,
you.
and if they want to find a copy, if they can't make it to the book sign, available everywhere?
Yeah, it's available online as well.
Wonderful. Thank you again. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be back talking Sens hockey right after this. Don't go anywhere.